What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to Cage Side News, your daily dose of everything MMA, from Octagon Wars to behind-the-scenes drama. Today's lineup is stacked. We're talking the biggest business deal in UFC history, one that could change the way you watch fights, forever. Plus, the latest heat from Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis ahead of UFC 319, and a whole lot more from around the fight world. If you live and breathe this sport, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and let's get right into it. This is the biggest business move in UFC history. The UFC has just signed a 7-year, $7.7 billion deal with Paramount. And when it kicks in for 2026, it's going to completely change how we watch the sport. Forever. For US fans, the old pay-per-view model? Gone. No more dropping $80 for one night. Now, every UFC event will be included with a Paramount Plus subscription, with select blockbuster cards airing free on CBS. This isn't just better access for fans. It's the UFC stepping into the same league as the NFL and NBA when it comes to media money. Their revenue? Doubled from the ESPN deal. Dana White says it's a huge win for the fans, but fighters are already asking, what happens to those massive PPV paydays? Will the roster get a bigger slice, or will the UFC keep the pie? One thing's for sure, this deal isn't just about streaming rights. It's about cementing the UFC as a permanent fixture in mainstream sports.
And today, they just announced the UFC just signed some crazy deal with Paramount Plus.
I saw that.
There's going to be no more pay-per-views. All the events are going to be available for everybody for free. Every pay-per-view, every fight card that they have from the Apex, which are my favorite.
Yeah.
Everything is going to be available for free. It's an amazing deal.
I think it's going to explode the sport even
Oh,
more.
my God. Through the roof. And it's a super smart move for Paramount.
Yeah.
What a great move to not just have the UFC for 7 years, but have it for free.
I love where this is headed. I love the idea of being on Paramount Plus. You know, when you think of these streaming services, live sports is so important because you have to tune in and watch it when it happens. And if you look at the moves they're making right now and the content that they have, they just locked up South Park. Yet they have Yellowstone, Mobland, which is a big hit, Tulsa King, and the list goes on and on. So not only if you're a UFC fan, you get away from the pay-per-view model. Now you just pay, $12 or $13 a month, whatever it is, and you get all this other programming plus all the UFC content.
Pay-per-view. I mean, I'm doing pay-per-view this Saturday. I'm going to be in Chicago on Saturday and do a pay-per-view, and it's going to pull good numbers. I mean, pay-per-view is still very much alive, but with these streaming services, it absolutely makes sense. If you drop a television show today and everybody's talking about it and raving about it, it's going to be there forever. I can go watch it whenever I want to. I can knock out the whole season in a couple of days, or I can watch it a year from now. Live sports, you have to watch live. You have to tune in. It's a destination watch. So, this Saturday, we have a live fight from Chicago, and you have to sit down, you have to watch it live. Nobody wants to watch it after it's already happened. So,
it was announced officially this morning that beginning 2026, the UFC is taking its entire package, the whole thing, over to Paramount. Out of nowhere, here comes Paramount, and Paramount Plus to be exact, and CBS as well. Yes, the Tiffany Network. No one saw this coming. But then something happened on Friday. Actually, it was on Thursday. Something happened on Thursday. On Thursday, the Skydance Paramount merger was officially announced. Skydance, led by David Ellison, son of Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle. They're doing it all. Big, multi-billion dollars involved, taking over the whole Paramount kit and caboodle, everything under the sun. That gets announced on Thursday. He does an interview on Friday talking about we need content. And in his first big deal since that announcement, on Monday today, they announced that they have acquired the rights domestically here in the United States to the whole UFC package beginning in 2026.
If you need any more hype for UFC 319's main event, Rampage Jackson just poured gasoline on the fire. The former UFC light heavyweight champ says he's seen Khamzat Chimaev in the gym murking people and calls him a different animal. Coming from Rampage, that's high praise. He even compared Chimaev's work ethic to Michael Bisping, saying the man never stops grinding. But Rampage also made it clear, size isn't everything. Yeah, Chimaev's big for the division, but in the UFC, discipline and skill beat brute force. Of course, this is Khamzat, so there was room for some comedy. Rampage cracked up over Chimaev's Smash Brothers banter with Darren Till, which is already making the rounds as meme gold. And here's the kicker. Rampage says Chimaev isn't the only killer coming up. He's putting his money on Khamzat, Khalil Roundtree, and Arman Sarukian, all becoming UFC champions.
Have you seen him?
I saw him train the other day. I saw him train Friday, I think. I was there and I just waved at everybody.
How'd he look?
He looked good. I saw him taking somebody down. He was beating up somebody. I was like, oh man, he's looking good.
Did he wave back at you?
No, he didn't wave back at me. Some of his teammates and stuff did, but he was busy kicking somebody's ass.
And he's training here, fighting Dricus, who's been a great champion so far. So what do you make of that matchup?
Well, it's hard for me to go against anybody that's training at Jackson. You know, you got to respect, you know what I'm saying, the camaraderie. But Khamzat, he's always been a beast every time I've seen him fight. So I'm going to go with Khamzat.
But just when you thought this fight was all about Chimaev steamrolling his way to the belt, Dricus du Plessis' coach has something to say about that. In a fiery response to Khamzat's UFC 319 countdown comments, where Chimaev called du Plessis hype and mocked his cardio, du Plessis' coach didn't hold back. He says Chimaev is one-dimensional, a pure wrestler who's only fought guys trying to escape his grappling. And that's the difference here. Du Plessis wants to wrestle him. Quote, I wouldn't even give him a pro license for his stand-up. He doesn't present any problems for us. We are the problem. That's the kind of trash talk that doesn't just sell a fight. It guarantees fireworks inside the cage. UFC 319 is going to be crazy.
You too, and you too, man. Have a good weekend. See you on fight. It's going to be a good one. Let's do it.
Khamzat Chimaev on your back in round one is not easy to get off. And then he was able to sink that in. And that goes to show how strong of a squeeze this freaking dude had.
Could he pull that same style against Dricus du Plessis? Because I will say this.
1000%.
Talk to me about that main event, DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev.
I just don't get why du Plessis has achieved so much. Because and again, I say it sounds like, I keep saying it. Sometimes you can spar some, like new guys in the gym, just like they don't have the experience, but they hit you because they do some crazy stuff. They can wing their hands and just do random stuff and it lands because it's not a conventional punch or it's not a conventional kick. That's what du Plessis represents for me, but at the highest level. But one thing he does exceptionally well is he knows how to grind out a win. He seems to find his way to success. I'm telling everybody, this will be the last time I bet against him. If he beats Khamzat, I'm never betting against him ever again. Like, I'm literally ever again. I don't care if you lot are telling me he's going to be fighting John Jones.
Khamzat is really known for his relentless pressure. He's an elite grappler as well. What can you exploit against him?
Yeah, I mean, Khamzat obviously world-class wrestling, grappling, but, at this level of the sport, everybody's world-class. This is not grappling or wrestling, this is MMA. And that's where I'm going to exploit. Is being the best in we're not fighting for a wrestling title, we're not fighting for a grappling title, we are fighting for the UFC title, and that's where I am the best. I'm not the best wrestler, I'm not the best grappler or best striker, but when you put all of those things together, if you combine it and that's the sport we do, I am the best in the world.
UFC flyweight champ Alexandre Pantoja says he's open to facing Merab Dvalishvili, but also sees big challenges in his own division. Muhammad Mokaev, Tatsuro Taira, Joshua Van, all dangerous, all waiting in line. Pantoja says, roll the dice, I've got plenty of fights ahead. While hyping up Khamzat, Rampage also revealed he's convinced John Jones was scared before their 2011 fight. He says Jones avoided stare-downs and carried the kind of adrenaline only fear gives you. Classic Rampage story time. Daniel Cormier is worried about Dubronx jumping back into the octagon just 3 months after being knocked out by Ilia Topuria. DC says Charles's chin took major damage, and rushing into Rafael Fiziev in October might be a bad call. These are the stories that keep the MMA world buzzing, and they're all happening right now.
Anytime Do Bronx fights, I get excited, the world gets excited, but then you start to digest the idea that Charles Oliveira last month got knocked out bad. Why so soon? That was my thought once I calmed down from the excitement of, oh my goodness, Charles Oliveira's fighting again. For me, that's scary. When you get knocked out like that, you should take a little bit of time before you go back into the octagon. I remember 2017, I fought John Jones. I got knocked out in Anaheim. I got a fight offer right after. And I just said, nah, I need to let my brain heal. I've got to let my mind settle after going out like that. It would not have gone well. I respect Charles Oliveira tremendously. I think he's amazing. Charles Oliveira fighting in 3 months after that knockout, to me, just does not seem like the best decision. I hope this isn't like I don't have to look back at this 3 months from now and go, oh, it happened to Charles. But it's just very scary.
John Silva's coffin comment. Ahead of his fight with Diego Lopez, John Silva said Lopez signed his own coffin by calling him out. Silva says their saints don't match and promises to bury him, literally and figuratively, on fight night. Prate's wild lifestyle. Fresh off a loss to Ian Gary, Prates admits he smokes cigarettes, drinks, and parties regularly and has been doing it since he was 12. He told other fighters, "Don't do what I do," but also said fans love his authenticity, so he's not changing. From gym beefs to coffin threats to fighters living like rock stars, the MMA circus never stops.
I know there's things being made of you, smoking a cig, having a little drink.
Mayorga.
I love it because at the end of the day, if it's part of your identity, people start to dig in. They're like, man, I like that.
That's my lifestyle, bro. I like to go to the party. I smoke cigarettes. I think I smoke cigarettes since 12 years old. It's my lifestyle. I do that, They want to see me, They don't want to see fake Carlos Prates. I say to a lot of people, they don't do that, but... but I don't know if it's gonna work for you.
Don't do as I do, do as I say.
You like, don't smoke cigarettes.
Fight fans, if this week proved anything, it's that the road to UFC 319 is going to be a war zone before the cage doors even close. We've got Chimaev's dominance hyped by legends like Rampage, Duplessis' camp firing shots right back, a massive new Paramount deal that could reshape how the whole sport is watched, and all the side drama that makes MMA the wildest ride in sports. And remember, this is just the build-up. Once fight night hits, all the talk stops, and it's time to see who really backs it up inside the octagon. This has been Cage Side News, where the fight never sleeps. I'll see you in the next one.